Ahoy hoy everyone. Hey, I just wanted to drop a channel update real fast and hopefully a video resource that's going to be helpful for you. This video is going to be a little bit less scripted than everything else that I do. So forgive me for that, but I'm hoping to make something that's going to be really, really valuable, both for you and for me and for anyone else who's within their first year on YouTube. So I'm wanting to make a video going over these 6 major ideas right here. 6, I don't know, might be 5. We'll see how it goes. I'll be looking at a couple bullet points while we're talking, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. I have a lot to say about the channel, so if this is the first video you're seeing, this is a weird one to get into. I'm Jared. I'm a therapist who talks a lot about video games, believe it or not, and really likes to look at how mental health and video games overlap and connect. And that has been my goal since I started this channel back on this day 1 year ago. It is very hard to believe that it's already been a year by the time you're seeing this video. So I kind of want to start by looking at the very early days of my channel. The first video I ever uploaded was about how Hades helped my ADHD. And it is a hard video for me to go back to because it was I'm just gonna put a video out there. Here we go. I gave myself like 2 hours. I shot it with my with my built-in camera's webcam. I don't even remember what I used for audio at that time. I used something. You can go back and watch the video. I think I was holding my microphone out here really far from my face, thinking I was treating it like a condenser mic instead of more of a dynamic or podcasting style mic. But I got myself to post that video mostly off of adrenaline. And honestly, I think that was fine. For a first video, if you're someone who's really interested in doing this in any way, shape, or form, I'm actually going to give you a weird piece of advice. It's probably in the thumbnail. I haven't designed it, but I imagine it's going to be in there. It's going to be me giving a silly face like that, I imagine, with a slightly blurred background and saying something like, don't make your first video. And that's advice that I hold to. I don't want you to make your first video if you're thinking about getting on YouTube. I want you to make your first 3 videos. I think this is advice that I wish I could have gotten and given myself, because you put a lot of pressure when you put out 1 video, and there's so much expectation and there's so much going on that you're just not prepared for. And like a lot of our emotional well-being when we start creating ask any artist in any medium gets put into what gets out there. And the truth is, no one's really going to see your first video. I don't think that Hades video got a lot of views. I went back and checked it, and I think most of the views that I'm tracking from it were from yours truly trying to figure out what was wrong with that video. I was very intentional about a lot of the emotional aspects when I first started the channel. I was very much into like the process of making these sorts of videos. I've known the whole time sort of what I've been working on with this channel. I knew that I've always wanted to talk about therapy and psychology, and I wanted to talk about the world of gaming and the huge Venn diagram and overlap that these have together. So while there's been so much more refinement, I kind of want to state that at the beginning. I've known what I want to talk about, for the most part at least. I'm going to talk about refining and kind of the middle ground in a minute, but the early days, I just wanted to share those experiences relative to video games. It made perfect sense to me. The actual act of making the video, I was really, really intentional about setting my goals. So I'm talking about therapy. I'm talking about video games. I'm taking some deep stuff and I'm trying to figure out how to make them accessible and approachable. I just had to kind of get over the hump of making it and recognizing, hey, no one's going to see it. I'm trying to start a craft and giving myself that expectation of this is a new craft of an art form I knew nothing about. I don't know anything about video production and very little about audio production, as evidenced by those old videos. So the biggest favor I did for myself is I said, you don't need to get good at this. You don't need to get good at this right now, especially. I gave myself a really, really long lead time. This is probably the biggest favor I've given to myself. Being so many layers deep and so niche in so many ways, I wasn't looking at monetization anytime soon, and that hasn't been my goal, and that's been super freeing. Having a job outside of this makes it a lot easier. But no joke, I've given myself about 3 years to hit monetization numbers. I'm not sure how much I really want to monetize or how much I'm going to take this in that direction. If I was truly trying to make this a career, I'd be producing way more content, but just throwing that out there. So my advice for new creators, like just start making things that are fun and short and easy, and try to make a few of them all at once before you release them, right? I think that's a good way to do it. We can talk about strategy and optimization, and I don't think that's a good decision. I think if you're trying to make a career out of this, the people I see get quick access or quick growth, or I'm monetized within a month. They typically, this is like their 9th or 10th channel they've done. So I don't know. I always have a little bit of back eyes, or I just listened to one creator who was like, oh yeah, well, I got my education from Harvard. I'm like, yeah, dude, you had so many connections from that. I don't have a Harvard education. Spoilers. And you probably don't either, and that's fine. None of that should stop you from getting into any of these things, but it should help you give that runway idea. Again, I've given myself that 3-year runway, and I'm feeling really good about that number. And we'll get to that more in a second. Now I want to talk about kind of like section 2. This is the middle ground. After a few months on my channel, I got a really good friend of mine to sort of like be a sounding board, an echo person, and someone to help me define and redefine and kind of come up with some like, where do I move and how do I move there? What are the most important aspects? And that level of support has probably been the number one thing that's gotten me to keep moving with this. You've heard me mention in my older videos, I have ADHD, and that's a long journey and story I'm not going to go over today. But the big part that you need to know from that is it makes putting down projects a whole lot easier if I'm not receiving the feedback that I need. And so having a person that I could rely on to step forward and give me validation, to offer goals and ideas and like celebrate wins with me was what I needed. Like that, I can't stress this enough. That level of support is the reason that I'm still here, and not just still here, but actually enjoying and not burnt out from this process. It became really important for me not to get burnt out as someone who either drops things fairly quickly when they don't receive immediate success, or to do the exact opposite and obsessively dive in to an unhealthy degree. I've worked really hard to balance both of those and have touched at different times over the past year on both of them, right? What's helped me get out of either one of those two extreme spots is, like, I'm gonna kind of break that down actually in a minute, but we're gonna be getting to like how have I managed that emotionally. But conceptually, in the middle ground, it was like forming routines and coming up with like breaking things down into other skills. Being on YouTube is part presentation, it's part video editing, it's part audio management, it's part thumbnail creation. The other thing I did during the middle ground was I joined a Discord server that was really, really helpful. The essay library has been so helpful. I would love to shout out every single creator on there. They have been hugely supportive during this entire process. So without them and their support and the like people who have already been there, so they're intelligent. Often a lot of these people have like 5, 6, 7, 8 years as content creators, so they can offer great feedback on like what makes a good thumbnail, what am I doing wrong on my audio. That's been so helpful because it's been a judgment-free and widely encouraging. And I'm someone who needs a lot of that. And I made this YouTube journey as one that's been defined by the supports around me and support for my own process. Finding my own voice has been a little bit difficult. I think it's difficult for everybody, so I don't think my journey is unique. I've already had a lot of my voice defined as a human being, so that's been helpful, but it has been a video by video by video goal. During the middle months, one thing I set for myself was around March, I want to say, I set a goal of like, I want to post every week. And that was just, the reason I did that wasn't so much like this will get my SEO up or more people will find me as a creator. The reason I did this is because I'm really bad at this, right? Like there's no other way to put it. I'm really, really bad at these things. And for me, the way to move forward was I'm just going to make a bunch of videos so that when something does poorly, either it gets really negatively received, or like it just no one saw it, which is usually the case. Something's right around the corner. I'm already working on something else, so all my attention can go into that, or all my attention can move towards like, okay, well, we can problem solve, and I got another video coming out next week. So that pattern for me was actually really, really helpful. I do not plan to maintain this. Section 3, I want to move to more of the emotional management side. It's been hard for me not to look at numbers, and especially in the beginning, you're going to want to look at numbers, and data's not bad or evil. I'm not here to say like, just follow your heart and only do that. Data has meaning, but understanding that data becomes important. That doesn't become important until you're about at my spot. Once you're a year in, data can start being meaningful. That said, I think you can also use a lot of intuition more than you can numbers. I've found my pillars for the things that I like to talk about, right? I have my broad overarching goals. I have my target audience. I have my ideal clients. The data's still helpful. The data's still affirming, and it helps me, especially when it comes to thumbnails or how am I marketing this, which are all big questions I want to hit a little bit more on as we get to the end. But again, for me, the emotional management side has been important. I will feel every video that gets out there. Every single video that comes out will hit me personally. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a thing. So again, I had that 1 year strategy for 6 months where I posted a video every week, right? Which I'm still doing, and I think is still going on. I got ahead on recording. I went through just like these big series where I would like produce 3 videos in a week. I think like I really had to come to terms that I was going to have bad weeks, and I still have some rough weeks when a video comes out and it underperforms. Time of this, I have just released my Yoshi's Island video a few days ago, and while it did well, and I'll define well later, it did not hit the numbers that I thought it would. It still did good overall for the state of the channel, but it didn't hit those numbers. And I do find myself, again, ADHD is a thing where I want to check those numbers and I want to understand and I want to make changes. And should I change my thumbnail or should I change my title? And I end up doing those things. I don't know if they help or not, but they do take away that feeling for a little bit. So I do try to make some time when a video comes out. I either already pre-prepare a couple of thumbnails or a couple of title changes, or I make them up real quick. But it's been really helpful to have a place to always put my emotions. Maybe that was jumping into a game. Maybe that was just going out for a walk and detaching from it. The smartest thing I did was like take everything off my phone that came to YouTube so I can only look at it on my computer. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give you is like, try not to have that YouTube Studio app on your phone unless absolutely necessary. So just throwing that out there, the less you can deal with analytics during this middle portion, early middle portion, the better. The later in the middle portion, a different story, right? Now that I'm about a year in, I do feel like I have found my voice for the most part. There are certainly times of refinement coming up. That's when I look into year 2. You'll hear more about that. But all these things have helped me with the emotional management side, is just setting expectations, following those expectations, allowing myself to be human in this process. Section 4. These are some small wins that kept me going that I was like really glad for. Like some of the first comments on my videos, I let a few friends know that I was doing this, and the people I've let know in real life have been super supportive. I have no problem with you telling anyone that you're doing YouTube. Don't tell everyone. Tell the people that will be most supportive and understanding and compassionate, right? Like that's the people you should tell. Anyone who feels like a support should know that you're on YouTube. If it feels like they're judging your videos or they're gonna tell you why it's bad, because like it's gonna be bad for the first close to a year, that's fine. I felt really good being able to go to YouTube and there's my video. It's right there. I can see something I made. Like that felt really reassuring when people would talk about like, wow, I've never thought about it this way. This is life-changing. The comments have been the things that have really kept me going. Any positive feedback that I could get. I feel like I'm making efforts to somewhat build a community. It is still a bit of a challenge. I am not a full-time YouTuber in the slightest, so building this is really, really hard. Yeah, I don't know if I have more to add on these small wins, but small wins are keeping me going and will continue to keep me going. Next section, I guess this is my section 5. I just want to talk about year 2. You've heard me already kind of like note this a little bit. I don't see major changes coming into the channel in a good way. I see a lot of hopefully like almost unnoticeable small changes couple of things when it comes to video quality looking a little better, audio quality being a little better, through lines of my writing being a little bit more solid. I feel good about being a writer. It's very different being a writer versus writing a script. Spoilers. It's still taking me a little while to figure out like how can I layer an essay style script better versus just, I think I can write fairly well. I think that's evidenced in my videos. The content's usually good. The way I put together words in a sentence work out, but the ways that I connect thoughts, I want to be a bit more swelling over the next year. I'm hoping to make a few more videos that's really going to zero in on like really specific things when it comes to people's struggles, depression, anxiety, things like that, games that touch on these things. So if you love the therapy side of my channel, great news, that is still going to be here, and that is still going to be very strong in this channel. If you don't like the therapy side of my channel, there's still plenty of nostalgia. I find nostalgia is a big thing that I talk about. Spoilers, I'm going to be talking about nostalgia for its good and bad parts a ton on this channel as things move forward. Yeah, that's the type of stuff that you can expect. Okay, I want to sort of land, maybe make this my final section 6, something like that. Here is your distilled, I am starting YouTube, what should I do, right? And this will be reviewing some of the bits and pieces, but this is a structured formula that I think you can do as you move forward, right? Number 1, like figure out who inspired you to get into YouTube. Mine are really obvious. My number 1 inspiration is probably going to be I Am Error. I think her channels are phenomenal. I want to imitate her work. I'll never be that good, right? Followed quickly, easily, you can probably see this one in a lot of videos. Jacob Geller, Super Eye Patch Wolf, right? Like these are the big end creators that were really inspiring. There's also some smaller creators. I Am a Dot was really helpful. Pixel a Day, Cat. She's been really inspiring as well. People that are very reflective, but making these smaller form videos versus, oh, here's a 2-hour essays. Like I'm not doing 2-hour essays. I don't got that kind of time. Number 2, proper expectations. In the gaming niche, if you're not coming in with an audience or anything like that, you are building from scratch. And like gaming is a niche, and then there are niches below that, right? There's retro gaming, right? Like that's a niche within a niche. Not everyone's a retro gamer, right? There's like Let's Players. That is a niche for sure. I'm not interested in that niche, but plenty of people are, and it's a very crowded niche, and that's okay, right? If you're going to do something, right, like, and you're starting out, I would say it kind of doesn't matter. You can form niches later. Don't get obsessed about it, but also understand that like as you do things, like how many people are out there just talking about The Legend of Zelda? Probably a lot, right? Your video's not going to stand out. Totally fine. That should be expected. It's hard to give numbers because it depends on how much you're doing, right? But my general sort of feel from the people I've talked to, they say like, hey, if you're putting out a few videos a month, you can kind of expect by the end of the year, probably in the lower end, to have like 50, 75, right? They'd say towards the medium end, you're probably looking about double that, about 125 or so, we'll say. And then on the higher end, about 200 would be the up to 3. I have heard up to 300 certainly is very, very reasonable. Most of those will come randomly. Some of my favorite videos have only gotten like 40 views. Some of my like most mediocre or mid-tier videos have hit over 1,000, which feels great. I'm always surprised and like, oh, okay, that resonates with people. What about that resonates with people? Maybe number 3, when you have enough of a body of work, you can start looking for themes. You can start looking for what resonated with people, right? That's really valuable. I can't stress that enough. Number 4, fall in love with making thumbnails. I hate doing that, or at least I hated doing that when I first started. And now I don't feel that way. I actually really like learning how that works. I do not think I'm a great thumbnail creator, but I think I have made leaps and bounds. Feel free to go back and look. Maybe I'll put some on the screen. If I'm feeling really motivated, I doubt it. But go take a look at some of the old thumbnails that I have, and then you can see some of the newer thumbnails. Especially, I think nope, that one's not out yet. I've got some, I don't know which one I'm gonna use, but there's a few thumbnails that I'm like, this feels really good. I'm really proud of this thumbnail. So I'm feeling much better. It's because I've had support, right? And maybe that's my next point. Find support. You are very vulnerable and fragile early on, especially. People who are vulnerable and fragile need support. There's plenty of ways to find that support for free. I'm sure you can pay for it if you really want to. I encourage you to find other creators. I've mentioned the Discord server earlier. Go find a server for people like you that is generally supportive and positive and helpful. I can't stress that enough. That's been so good for me. And it's led me to a point where I feel like I no longer make bad content, right? If you want to call it content, whatever. I'm feeling a lot better about what I'm producing. Year 2 for me will still be tightening up a lot of this, but to tighten up something is much easier than it is to build from whole cloth, right? Finally, again, you're gonna hear me say that idea. If you're wanting to make your first video and you don't know how, use the tech that you got in front of you. You've got a phone, that's plenty, that's enough. Sometimes you can pop in some headphones or something like that. You don't need to buy anything. You probably already have something. I've got more equipment and lighting. Lighting would probably be a separate point. Start studying lighting a little bit because that's the big difference. My videos look much better. My lighting's not great, but it is much better than what it was. That's the type of thing will probably get better and better over time. Yeah, so the final piece again is if you're afraid to make that first video, I fully understand that. It's very vulnerable, right? Give yourself permission to be vulnerable, give yourself permission to be worried, and give yourself permission to make 3. Because 3 videos are going to be a lot easier for you to manage than 1 video. Don't forget, you can always upload to YouTube and make it unlisted. You can always make it private if you want to. I suggest just for those videos, like, get it done with. Get those 3 out there, pop them all up at once. You know, maybe you can schedule. So like, maybe one comes out today, one comes out tomorrow, one comes out 2 days later, right? But that way you'll feel much better because you'll be able to divide any feedback that you get, which spoilers will be almost none because no one's gonna see it. That's the other thing I'd say is prepare for no one to see your art and to realize like you have to decouple making a video and people not seeing it from, uh-oh, I made a bad video. Those are not the same thing, right? Like you can make a good quality product that no one sees. If I am working at a farmer's market and I have the best milk in town, but that farmer's market is on a day where it is raining and there's like 5 people there, I'm not selling anything. Doesn't mean my product's bad. It means nothing about my product in and of itself. It means no one was there. Those are very separate things. So remember, like you can put your videos out at the right times and yada yada, but like you are learning 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different skills. And it takes a long time to bring together, to bring all of those together, right? I want you to think about it like this is a symphony. You have the string sections, you have the percussion sections, you have the clarinets, you have the violins, you have all of these things that you're bringing together and like you're trying to make them work together. And synergy takes a long time. That's why I've given myself that sort of 3-year runway of, yeah, I don't expect to be at monetized by then because I'm bringing together so many things, but the end of 3 years, wow, I'm gonna have all these skills. And already at a year, I feel like I've improved significantly in video editing and video production and lighting and sound and like all of these elements. You're doing all of those things, right? Like, and they all have to work together to make a watchable video. I wouldn't want to tell anyone not to make some YouTube videos. I think this is a good skill to have. I'd say don't expect to make a living from this, and that most full-time creators will tell you the same thing, and they all seem to be very nervous and worried about income. But like, once you surrender that portion of, I don't have to make this my future, I can just be learning a set of skills that are incredibly valuable in 2025 and onward, right? Like video editing, lighting, producing. No matter what you do, you're going to want these skills. So I would aim for a skills mindset and like a hands on the ground version of that. Okay, there we go. I've given that to you. What do I want to end with? Is, hey, like spoilers, like a lot of thankfulness, a lot of gratefulness. If you've been here since early on in the channel, thank you. Your presence means so much to me. If you're a friend or if you're somebody I know in real life and you've been supportive, like, hey, like I can't give to you the things that you deserve for keeping me supported during a time that was honestly a little bit challenging, particularly at certain points. I don't foresee my future with this being challenging or anywhere near as challenging, just because I've gone through the most vulnerable period. Not to say there won't be hard parts. Like I said, mentioned that Yoshi's Island video earlier, like I was discouraged from it. It didn't ruin my day. I'm just not gonna let it do that. More gratefulness. If you're just someone who found my channel early on and you're like, yeah, like I'm digging this and I want to be here for your growth process, thank you. Right? Like, I don't have a huge number of subscribers. I don't have a small number of subscribers. Like, probably by the time this video comes out, I'll be at about 200. And like, imagine an auditorium. Imagine an auditorium of people all coming to see you, and there's 200 seats and they're all filled, right? Like, that's really cool. So for me, I'm not dying for, oh my gosh, like I have to hit a number to be valid. It also really helps. It helps to know that what I'm doing resonates with people, and I want to touch lives personally and bring the real life bits of therapy into both our digital world, our gaming world, and just give us these things in general. Because I know I didn't get access to too much of this when I was growing up, at least not in any meaningful way. And I think games are very meaningful. If you're new here, awesome. Hey, you should subscribe. Awesome. Hey, you don't have to. You can if you want to. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say while I'm here. If you've been a long time lurker, hey, that's fine. I see you. You're welcome to lurk. This is a safe place. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. I'm gonna talk to y'all in year 2. Thank you for joining me so far. I'm excited to continue to serve the audience the best that I can. And take care of yourselves. Thanks.